real, because my first dream was to be an animator. I wanted to draw for Disney, but what got me into music, it wasn't even hip hop. It was Michael Jackson. Michael Jackson was the reason I wanted to make music. He was the reason I wanted to be on stage. He was the reason I wanted to be a performer. So I'm gonna give that credit to Mike, MJ. Man, I can write without a beat, but I prefer to have the beat first, because majority of the time, Tech Nine said it best. The beat and the music is gonna tell you what to write. So when it comes to my process, I usually like to have a beat first, and if I got that beat and I listen to it, and me and you talked about it last week, if you feel it, I'm going right to it. It starts with the beat, and then the songwriting process, which is my favorite part of the process, writing the lyrics. And then once I get to that part, it's a wrap. And I don't waste time recording. The moment I'm write that last word and I'm done, and I write it back and rehearse it, let's book the studio the next day. So I gotta have that beat first. Not caring about what other people say or think. Obviously, you're putting your art out for people to talk about it, but at the same time, you don't have to let their words or their critiques be the end all be all. And just like, I guess promotion has been my hardest part. I can make the music, I can perform, I can do all this, but it's the business side. It's called the music business. The music part is super easy, but the business part is not. Whether it's, like I said, promoting and having to get yourself out there. We live in Topeka, Kansas, so trying to get heard all over the world is not easy. It's not the same as if I was in New York or if I was in California. So it definitely would be the marketing and promotion. And then the other half is, like I said, just that business side, which is the same reason why it's taken 2.5 years for this 6-song EP to come out, because you leased the beat off YouTube, but that producer leased the beat to 100 other guys. So now it's 100 people with the same beat, and then this and that. So just the ins and out of the business part and marketing for sure. Oh man, my grandma instilled that entrepreneurship spirit in me when I was young. I remember when, she had got me like this kind of portable bank, and I would get cash and I'd put it in there, and it's like I saw my grandma start her own business and her own organization operate, so I was watching her. And then by the time I got to Topeka High School and they enrolled me in the entrepreneurship program, it was a wrap after that, because I was already listening to guys like Eric Thomas, who made this shirt. I was listening to Eric Thomas, and he was promoting and pushing entrepreneur spirit. I was listening to what my grandma was saying, but when my teacher was actually showing me what a SWOT analysis is, or the 4 Ps, these different things, an elevator pitch, like all of these things we learned, it was pushing that out of me. And honestly, I got real quick before I forget, when I was a child, my dad was a street entrepreneur. and I remember watching how he would do, and when him and his crew would come over before they leave, they used to come to my room because I had all the stuff. So I used to have my own Blockbuster in my room where I would use all my allowance to buy movies, and all of my dad's homies would come in and rent movies for their kids, and I would charge them like $5 every night. So if you kept the movie for 3 nights, I got $15 when you came back. I went and bought a gumball machine. They would come in and get gum. I took my grandpa's cologne, and I was charging $0.25 a spray. So if you get 4 sprays, that's $1. So I remember having that entrepreneurship spirit instilled in me as a kid, but it didn't jump back out until I got into that class. And then when I graduated, I was one of the only handful of students that not only graduated with an A+ in that class, but actually got some money. So I was able to make $2,500 from that class, and I spent that on my first 3 months of renting in my first apartment. So like, just learning from there, and that helped me, because when I was a teenager, I already knew what I wanted to do. I knew, okay, I'm going to create a business or organization, and it's going to be around using music to advocate for children. I just knew that's what it was going to be. So it was all of those parts. It was learning from what I had from dad, what I had from grandma, what I had from school, and now here I am in my 20s able to just kind of apply what I learned, if that makes sense. Man, being a father has influenced everything in my life. I think that the music part just it being more responsible with my words. Cause before I had my kids, I was rapping, but I was just talking about whatever. You know, I was kind of swag rapping, talking about how fresh my clothes was, talking about how dope I am. But when I became a dad, my my content started to change and being more about pushing a message because I'm like, okay, my kids are listening. So I don't I already really didn't cuss in my music, so that didn't need to change, but just my messaging and making sure that okay, I gotta say something instead of just talking about whatever. And as far as business, it's like right now, like I knew we had to do this, but I gotta make sure I get them situated before I do what I gotta do. So hey guys, dad's gotta go do an interview. Let's get dinner, let's get showered, let's get our clothes. So just making sure that I handle my daddy duties first before I handle anything business wise. I truly put my kids first before anything. Ooh wee. Bro, that's tough because I have so much. There's so much about the legacy that I want to leave. I know that like I'm about to shoot for the moon. That's just me. If Martin Luther King Jr. made music in the 60s, right? That's the type of legacy I want to leave. I don't want people to just be like, oh, he was a good rapper. No, first of all, he was an artist. Like as you hear in my song, Need Some off the new album, I said I don't make rap songs. This is life music. So I want to be someone who is bigger than rap, who is bigger than music. And I just want to be somebody who the world can look back and say, whether, like you said, whether it's music or whether it's business, no matter what, this man changed the entire world with his voice. He changed the world with his art. He changed the world with those businesses and those organizations. And he made this world a better place. And specifically for the children, I'm going to be honest. Of course, I want the elders, my OGs, and my peers to respect what I do. But if they don't respect what I do, but the children and the next generation respects what I do, that's all that matters. I really can care less about what everybody else thinks. As long as the kids love what I'm doing and they continue to push that legacy and they're proud of what I've done for the city of Topeka, for the state of Kansas, and just, I'm going to say it, for the whole entire country and world as a unit, because I'm representing the kingdom, which is bigger than any place that I live. That's my legacy. Okay, he really pushed and advocated not just for children, but for the kingdom of heaven on a global scale, and we can still see the fruits. I just mentioned it. Martin Luther King. It's 2025. King was dead in 68. We still talking about him. Walt Disney died in 1966. We are all still watching the fruits of his labor. So things like that. I want to be one of those people. Another person I'll mention, Bob Marley. Bob Marley's music still today transcends all generations. Michael Jackson, all generations, the same way that it did when they put it out. So I hope to just be one of those people who could be mentioned in the same sentence as those guys, but for bigger than just what I'm doing in business and in music, but just in the kingdom as a whole. Man, y'all can look me up on everything. Jacory, Jquory. If I was you, I would go listen to that new album, How the Story Goes, on all streaming platforms, on Pandora, Apple Music, Spotify, Tidal, YouTube, you name it. Like I said again, Jquory, Jacory. It's also on TikTok, Jacory, aka JQ. And man, we gonna be coming to a town near you this summer. We got the internship going at Lois Curtis Center, which come check us out throughout the week if you got kids who are interested in making art. If you got anybody in your family who's disabled and you're needing services, come visit us at the Lois Curtis Center. So you can find me there, or you can find me online at those handles that I just said, or you can just find me at a college near you, man. We about to come get this college tour going, and that's where y'all can find me and tap in.